So what are your thoughts on this sickness?
The virus has been going on.
Yup.
I feel like it's gonna decrease population, and I feel like not only that, I do believe that there will be not only this virus going. I believe there could be more. I'm not trying to be a negative person or want the worst for humanity because I'm not a person who would want that
Yeah.
on anyone. I don't want anyone dying and stuff because I don't like how it's like I don't like how people keep dying here things about viruses are going on, and I feel like there's people that there's people that create that say the virus this and that. There's some people that spread it, and maybe like people don't learn from the COVID when it happened, and people continue to go out and stuff. In my opinion, is that if you didn't know you're sick, you shouldn't be going out at all. And not only that, but I do believe that. I believe that there's people in office that are probably in control of that virus too. Because if you think about there's some viruses that have been going on in the past, and they were like forgotten, and some they come, they'll automatically come back, and they said it was good. And they didn't hear about this for years, but yet it comes back again. So, what are your thoughts? What I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, I do feel like it's true. Maybe it could be, or it could be just like like a plague kind of like, so that way the world doesn't get overpopulated, and that's why it's trying to keep numbers low. But then it's also like, what if it's also to like keep people afraid, worried, and then it's like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna think for myself. There's people nowadays that don't even think for themselves no more. They just listen to whatever they hear and they go with it without even questioning it, without even giving you a second thought. They're gonna say, all right, I heard this, I heard that, and that's it. I'm going with it, and that's it, without even really thinking about it or like taking the time to really understand how did this happen, why is this happening, and like sometimes you just gotta question things. Sometimes you gotta really just say, all right, what could be the reason why this started? Or what really causes this,
Yeah.
I mean, if something happens, there's always a reason why. There's always going to be something that causes something. It's almost like, I'll give an example. A car, right? Yeah, they make a car, but then after that, you try to make it more advanced, faster, make it more eco-friendly, try to find ways to make it different, make it better, trying to always improve. I mean, look at the old cars, they use mostly strictly pure gas. If you get a classic car, pure ethanol, right? Unless you get an LS, but then after that, it's like as the years start progress, you change the style. They didn't use just pure gas. Then they had just regular gas. But then after that, you have all these other type of cars that's a bit different. And it's like, why though? I mean, there's a reason why. I mean, to make more money, to make it better, to make it eco-friendly, to make it go faster, and it's like there's so many reasons why. And it's also another thing is like, all right, why do people end up trying to, let's say, change the style of houses too? Okay, to make it look nicer, to make more money. You know what I mean? It's like there's those reasons why. I mean, I feel like there's got to be a big reason why. But do I really know? No. But these are just my ideas. Maybe someone that's watching this video, they might know. They might have an idea. And maybe they might be posting a comment on this video explaining why. And guess what? It could be right on the dot. Right on the dome spot right there. They had it right. Or maybe you have it right too. Who knows? But I mean, there's so many reasons why. But I also feel like there is opportunity though. Because you think about it. People are all focused on this going on right now. They quit focusing on other stuff, and guess what? That gives people the opportunity to say, well, guess what? Everyone's focused on that. But let me think of a cure first. Let me find a way and make money off of it. It might not even be the cure. They can just put it out within a couple weeks, months, and guess what? Who knows what's inside of it? They just say it's a cure. But how are you gonna get the cure already when it just came out and then it's like you didn't know what caused it, you don't know how it is. But guess what? They're just gonna say it. And people are just gonna listen to them. Now you're making money, you put whatever you want in them, and control it. Or someone might just say, all right, everyone's focused on this, you know what, let me go commit more crimes, let me go do more stuff that's more evil, more dark, more worse, the worst I can think of, and I'm gonna go do it. Why? Because everyone's focused on that. No one's thinking about me, no one's thinking about what I'm gonna do, no one's gonna think about it, no one's gonna question it. Guess what? They're no longer looking at me anymore. They forgot about it. They figure out that I'm still doing that. get anything.
I got a good question too. Do you think, in a way, history repeating itself? It was almost like, when I heard about this virus, I think of the Black Plague that happened
Yeah.
back then, about how people died in these boats and stuff, and the infection and stuff like that, and there was no cure. Do you think that's gonna happen one day? Or
Yes.
do you think this virus is almost the same? You think it's the same virus?
Basically, yes. Because I'll be honest with you, it's like, all right, we always look back at history. History always ends up repeating itself. What causes war? Money, power, women sometimes too, or is it just being greed, and that causes wars. Or it's like people try to bring change, and every time someone tries to bring change, they get killed, they lose their life, they get assassinated, they get murdered. It's happened. It's happened since what? Ancient times, where people try to bring change, and then sometimes they die in the process. And sometimes when they die, that's what causes the change. Because guess what? People start to open up, they start to realize, wow, I wasn't really looking at the big picture as that person, but they were right. It's true. They didn't just die for a reason, they died for a cause. And yes, there are some people right now that's probably dying for a cause. They'd rather die for something than live for nothing,
Yes.
And sometimes people just start to wake up and start to realize that, and that's why they go against it. And even though people might talk bad about them, try to talk reckless about them, or say, oh yeah, they don't know what they're doing, but there's a reason. It's almost like, why is it that there's people that are Christians, they're getting killed? So you're telling me this. There's people that, let's say everything is true too, right? If they believe in it so strong, and yet they're willing to die for it. I mean, there's got to be a reason why. I mean, that's like saying, I believe in too for it, but I'm going to die for it. It's like, I've never heard anyone say it. But if you have that strong conviction, got to be a reason why. It's almost like with War 2. It's like, yeah, it's happening, but there's a reason why it's happening. There's a reason why people say, you know what, we're going there. I know sometimes with I guess like with the whole thing, they're saying, well, yeah, we're going to war to help another country, but what if there's a bigger picture that we don't even know yet, or that hasn't been released, or maybe there's someone that does know it, and they haven't shared it yet. It could be so much more that just meets the eye. Maybe we're just scratching the surface at this moment. Maybe this point in history is just only scratching the surface.
I got a question too. What do you think about the people that think this virus is a joke, and that they don't take seriously? What are your thoughts about that? Because there's people that think everything's all fun and games, and they don't take life too serious.
But some people who I can't speak for them, because I guess what, I don't know what they've been through, what they go through, how they think. But this is just my thoughts. Maybe they're like that because guess what, they don't want to face reality. They don't want to really talk about it because guess what, they know it's really bad, it's really dark, and they don't like it. So they try to make a joke about it. Or maybe they're just trying to make people feel a bit okay with it. Because think about it, when you hear all this stuff, it makes people sad, angry, and upset. They don't want to hear it no more. But instead of, telling that person everything's going to be okay, or is it going to be okay, they try to make a joke about it. Try to make someone laugh, because now that person kind of calms down a bit. It's like, if you know someone that you care about, that's your family member or a friend, you don't want them angry, you don't want them sad and upset, depressed, going through all these emotions. You're going to try to cheer them up a little bit, maybe throw a small joke about it. And deep down they're really saying, yeah, I know this is real, I know this is going on, but I don't want to act like I'm worried and scared too. I mean, there's people that had to grow up like that. They feel that they have to be strong, they got to be tough. They can't look weak in front of people. That's why they act that way. And some of them, they just don't care. They're like, I don't care, man. It's funny to me. I'm just making a joke. I don't care. Who cares? There's people that are like that too. They just don't care about others. They only care about themselves. And they might say, the people that care about others, they got it backwards because they got to think about themselves. And yes, you do have to have moments where you got to think about yourself too. But there's nothing wrong about thinking about others. It's like, if you want to help others, you got to help yourself before you can help someone. And when you're able to help yourself, then you help others. I mean, that's how I look at it. Like, I know I always try to help people out. I've talked to people that go through addiction, homelessness. I've talked to gang members. and the other people in the streets, I'm not gonna say, oh, you gotta think this way, you gotta think that way. No, and I'm not gonna tell them you gotta do this, you gotta do that. You gotta make that choice. But I can always speak life into them, talk to them, and be real with them, and just let them know, like, yeah, I get it. I understand why you might go through it. Maybe I don't understand everything to the. I don't understand everything exactly because I never went through what you went through. I never saw what you saw, and I've never heard what you heard. But guess what? I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to hear what you gotta say, and I'm willing to just hear your feedback too. And sometimes, yeah, it starts to change. But like I said, everyone has free will. Everyone has a choice. Same with this whole thing going on. There's people that can probably make a change right now. There's people that probably at that point where they can say, yes, I can bring change to my community. Yes, I can bring change in the position I'm in, whether I'm in the media, whether they're in the government, whether they're in law enforcement, or whether they're even influencer, or even someone just at the regular store, or whether like a coffee shop, or like a, what do you call it, a retail store. Just to bring change there. Be a positive person. Talk to people. You know someone's hurting and upset, talk to them. Be real with them. Show them that you care. Sometimes they just need that to let it out. And yeah, I feel like that's what they could be doing too. I know you gotta do all this negative stuff, but guess what? We gotta also try to stay positive too, and not let them bring us down and make us shut down and just say, alright, that's it, game over. And here. I mean, you hear some of the great people like Malcolm X, Cesar Chavez, you hear people like Martin Luther King. I mean, they were fighting for a cause, for a reason. They were passionate, they were dedicated, they wanted to change. Yes, they did pass, and they were willing to. There was people that followed Jesus, they died because of what they believed in, to bring a change. There's also people right now that are going through it right now too, in other countries, for a cause that they believe in. And it's like, you might not understand it, but you can always talk to them and ask them why they believe in what they believe. You can't just be quick to assume like, oh, I know everything, you're wrong, you don't know nothing. I mean, it's gotta be a reason. And maybe they might be brainwashed. You never know. It's like, I could have believed in something at one point. Guess what? Then my eyes started opening up. And guess what? I took the time to talk to someone. That person was willing to listen, and my eyes opened. Just like I could talk to someone, and I could be real with them, and then their eyes start to open. They start to realize, yeah, you know what? I'm looking at things in different perspectives. Sometimes we just gotta look at different lenses.
But I wanted to ask another question. Besides the virus and stuff like that I talked about, and I do hear about stuff about, about sexual diseases that they're going on to as well, like almost like the hookup culture, and people don't care no more. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts about that, knowing that there's people that you have unprotected sex and they still sleep around, and they do things and they meet out there, and how it affects other people as well? What are your thoughts about that?
Sometimes people just feel like, alright, yeah, I know I got this, but who cares, Life is short, enjoy life, and do whatever I want. Some people have that mindset, to be honest, and that's why they do what they do. And sometimes people are also just looking for someone because they can't really build a relationship or don't know how to connect with someone. That's why they do what they do. I mean, deep down they're hurting. So that's why they go do what they do. They sleep around like, hey, let me find somebody that is gonna help me let it go. Like, it gives me that pleasure for an instant. Because those are the only happiest moments. It's almost like people that do drugs. Sometimes they just use it because it gives them pleasure just for that moment. But when they don't have it, they're sad because guess what? They have to face reality again. They really are upset, they're hurting, they're angry, they don't like life, they hate what they're going through, they hate society. But that's their happiest moment. And with sexual diseases, I know that's been around for a long time with HIV/AIDS. I remember reading up in an article, it talked about it, how think what it was supposed to be CIA or something. They just created it, to be honest. How it just started happening, and after that, they had people get to, almost like test subjects. I remember reading the article was talking about how they did that in Guatemala, with the prisoners and some of the people there, people that were going against the government, like the guerrillas. So they ended up injecting them. I don't know how much of it's true and stuff, so can't really talk too much about it. But I mean, if someone's watching it and they want to look more into it, I mean, it does talk about it. I remember reading some articles how they talk about that, but I can't really talk about the whole.
Yeah, but when I remember what I learned about it was from originally was from animals.
But yeah,
That's what I remember. I learned from animals, and after that, I think supposedly people ate them or did something with the animal and stuff, and that's how it went to human beings. Because originally it came from animals, not from people. I think it was by, if I remember, like ape or monkey, something like that. I forget what it was, but yeah, they were talking about how that stuff happened and how like those sexual diseases happen because it originated from animals.
I want to ask you this: do you think it's possible that maybe someone found out about how those animals have that sickness? So what they decided to do was use some of the DNA from that animal, whether it was through their blood or something, and then after that inject it into someone to see what happened and what would be the cause and effect. And after that, that's when they started to use it. Or do you think someone maybe just woke up one day and said, you know what? I'm tired of being with people, so I want to go ahead and try with the animal. You think maybe that could have happened or what caused it? What are your thoughts?
I could say it could be either one because at the same time, we don't know. At the same time, we don't know. Because if you think about it, you didn't hear some of these things. They back in like I don't know what times, but there's times that you didn't hear about sexual diseases in that time in the past.
True.
And stuff. But since I don't want to be religious, but I think it did mention the Bible too and stuff. But I'm not guaranteed. But I know they talk about diseases, but since like I don't think it really came from people. Because if you think about, look at Adam and Eve. Nothing happened to them or the other people that were around those times.
True.
You didn't hear about those diseases.
True.
It's like where did these diseases come from? We already know it's not people, but sometimes it's like maybe like you were saying, maybe people did get injected or some stuff, or did something with the animal or something to cause that. Because if you think about it, it spreads, and sometimes it took a long time. If you think about it too, even researchers have said that it took a long time just to find a cure. Even though there's the cure, but sometimes it's not guaranteed it will go away. But sometimes it's like maybe there is a cure, just that it is just that a real actual cure. Maybe it's there, but it's not in public. Well, they don't want people, to find that cure, know that there's a real cure to get rid of those sexual diseases. Because in their mind, like you were saying, maybe they don't care about population and whether it increase or decrease. Because in the end, they care about themselves instead of other people. And how, like you were saying too earlier too about they're not in the cure because it's not affecting them. And another thing I wanted to ask that, do you think these sexual diseases is gonna get more people killed than the actual virus itself? Or do you think it's half and half?
Half and half. To be honest, like you said, what you were saying earlier, all these other diseases coming out. I mean, we already hearing about war, famine. We're hearing about even with the weather, it's like all this stuff that's coming out. I feel like maybe it's happening for a reason. Maybe there's something that we're missing. Maybe there's a reason. Like I said, there's got to be a reason why this is all happening, especially right now. Like, you're hearing so much about this, and I feel like there's going to be so much more coming out, to be honest. And I don't think that's the only thing that's going to try to stop people. Even abortion is big right now, too. That's taking a lot of lives. Even the food we eat, from what we consume, what we're taking in. I mean, this food that's supposedly organic, it's not really organic. They got chemicals already in it. It's almost like to the point where you're doing make your own food now. You have to grow your own fruits and vegetables. So like I said, can't really just say that's gonna be the only thing. I think there's so much more. That's all I gotta say about that.